Once again, we're very glad to have your company here tonight, coming to you straight from the heart of Africa, Kigali. My name is Martina Abera. Now, let us kick off our bulletin by letting you know that the communique in pursuant to the Constitution of the Republic of Rwanda, especially in its Article 112, pursuant to the Law number 14, 2013, determining the organization and functioning of the province, especially in its Article 9. Today, the 10th of August 2023, His Excellency the President of the Republic has made the following appointments. Mr. Maurice Mugabo Wagahunde, Governor of the Northern Province, Ms. Dansila Nyirarugero, the Commissioner of Rwanda Demobilization and Reintegration Commission, and Dr. Patrice Mugenzi, the Director General of Rwanda Cooperative Agency. This was done at Kigali the 10th of August 2023 on behalf of His Excellency the President of the Republic of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, and signed by the Prime Minister, Dr. Edouard Ngirente. Now, moving on, the members of the district advisory councils of the Northern Province that saw some of the recently dismissed from their duties say they intend to ensure that they properly fulfill their responsibilities towards their communities following their meeting with the Minister of Local Government. We have more on this report.
The members say that they are aware of the seriousness of the mistakes that were made and have taken measures to ensure that they are not repeated. The Advisory Council, as the overall authority in the district, should have caught on it early and taken a decision if necessary. But obviously, I have to admit that we stumbled and did not make a decision soon enough. Our ignorance of the existence of such things was our stumbling block. Not able to detect something that progressively grew until it almost looked like it was going to become generalized. And even those who got the information did nothing, did not at least denounce it. And some among us were even seen to participate in such practices that promote divisionism and favoritism. We stumbled seriously and therefore apologize, vowing that it will not happen again and the unity of all Rwandans will remain our top priority. We will teach communities on the importance of unity, and where divisionism has begun to spring up, we will denounce it and tell them to stop such things because they are useless to us, and that we should all see ourselves as Rwandans. While meeting with the members of the district advisory councils in the Northern Province, the Minister of Local Government did not mince his words regarding their shortcomings in this regard.
Inama njyanama ntabwo zagiye zikunda kubaza abayobozi b'uturere ibyo zabashinze ibyo abaturage babashinze.
The advisory councils did not ask district officials about how they were fulfilling their responsibilities towards the people. Yet the law requires that the advisory councils summon the district executive councils every 6 months to review how things are going. We have agreed that such mistakes should be immediately rectified. We also agree that they should always avoid putting their personal interests ahead of those of the people they serve, because that is how problems of divisionism arise. They have vowed that anything they do in their capacity as leaders will be for the good of all their local residents, not just their home areas. This week has seen significant changes in the leadership of the Northern Province and 3 of its 5 districts, these being Musanze, Gakenke and Burera, where as many as 10 officials were dismissed from their positions for failing to fulfill their responsibilities pertaining to the promotion of unity among Rwandans.
Authorities are asking the citizens to relocate from high-risk zones. Nonetheless, some residents who were relocated in the past 3 months are asking for help finding shelter or at least compensation for their property. We have more. In Nyarugenge district, Gitega sector, there is a house that appears to be in a high-risk zone. If heavy rainfalls were to occur, some people would end up being washed away. Some have been evacuated and others are still living in them. They admit that living next to trenches is worrying, but they have no other choice due to their standards of living. I rent the house I live in for about 20,000 Rwandan francs, while above me there are those that rent for about 40,000 and 50,000. You can see that I clearly rent according to what I can afford, and if there was a house at a lesser price here in Mazi, I would go for it. I only came here because that is what is in my price range. If I could afford more, I would definitely be somewhere better.
For someone to stay here, it is because they cannot afford any better. If the finances could allow it, no one would live here.
Hakizimana Eric is one of the residents of Gisozi sector in Nyakariba Cell in Gasabo district. He is now renting in the Gatsata sector because he was relocated from the hill he was living on because it proved to be a high-risk zone.
All we request is that they give us compensation or find us places to live. That's the only issue we have. Even though they are relocating us from a place that has no worth, they can still give us a small compensation for it. We will figure out the feeding situation on our own. For now, we just want assistance in finding places to live.
Many of those who were relocated want to get compensation for their property because they had documents for them, or at least they find a place to stay. They came and told us that we are living in high-risk zones. They started from the sides, taking down our houses. We even went to complain. We had various mediators, but nothing came out of it, even though we had supporting documents. We were living under Dove next to Adeper. The announcement of the city of Kigali dated August 8th reminds those who are living in high-risk zones to move as soon as possible and relocate to safer zones in order to avoid risks to their lives. Since July 29, 2023, the residents have asked the responsible authorities of Kigali City to have a discussion about housing and the issue of evacuating people from high-risk zones, but the discussion keeps being postponed. They are still waiting for their busy schedule to free up. The industrial sector practitioners testify the benefits they get from having an established industrial zone in Kigali City, which contributes much to the growth rate of industrial production in Rwanda, which has reached 10.3% in 2023. Adam Squizera with more.
In Masoro, Kigali City, it's where the Kigali Special Economic Zone is located. Currently, there are over 150 factories and support services, such as financial institutions and logistic companies, which are built on 400 hectares of land. Those factories in this area created over 15,000 permanent jobs. Mushimi Manakaran, who has been working at a brewery factory located here in Masoro for 7 years, and her colleagues, points out the benefits and opportunities they get from working here.
I started working here when I was still a girl, but now I am married. During all that time, I tried to save my salary, where now I'm able to feed my family. Meanwhile, I don't have any problem.
I learned electronics at school, but I had no idea on the production operations of various industries. But now I knew how to do it, to the extent I have skills of making a TV from scratch up to its end. The National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda in May 2023 released the Index of Industrial Production, which showed that industrial output from a sector increased by 10.3% compared to the May 2022, against an increase of 9.1% on annual average basis, while manufacturing production increased by 23.3%. Various managers and representatives of some of the industries that are located in Kigali Special Economic Zone, Masoro, attributes this increase rate as a positive result of the government's plan dedicated to create industrial zones. Where we used to work before was not in a special industrial zone like here. You found that even though we made high quality products, we were not recognized at the market. Due to that, we didn't have a credible location to tell our clients or suppliers. Other things regarding the environmental conservation, this area established a waste management system which helps us to collect the waste products from our factories without harming the environment. The Ministry of Public Service and Labor demonstrated that health and safety standards are at 45%, contract provision at 61.1%, while providing their salary through financial institutions were at 89.6%, and the insurance coverage at 89.2%. The practitioners in this industrial sector affirms the implementation of this rate of health and safety at workplace that it should be strictly followed, since their workers are most likely to face various accidents during Now, regarding to the things that are in regard to insurance, we've really cared about it, since every employee here have insurance. Because you can't work in such factory with this fragile equipments without having insurance. This means that the environment is good. The problem of inadequate raw materials needed in the production processing is still a challenge, as expressed by those practitioners. Many of the raw materials used here are imported, which takes another procedure of importing those raw materials to Rwanda, even if it is necessary to complete such procedure, but it delays, since you find that things are delaying at Majerwa or on their way, because we don't have it here in Rwanda. In the first quarter of 2023, Rwanda's gross domestic product reached to 3,901 billion Rwandan francs, from 3,021 billion Rwandan francs in the first quarter of 2022, where the industry sector contributed 22%. This is where the Director General of the Kigali Special Economic Zone, Jean-Isabelle Gasana, demonstrates the role of this zone in the country's development.
Byafashije cyane cyane leta y'u Rwanda mu kugabanya ibitumizwa mu mahanga.
It really helped the government of Rwanda in reducing the level of importation, since here you find many industries which manufacture construction materials. Others produce food processed products such as sorghum and maize porridge, which helps various families that are still lagging behind due to the problem of malnutrition and for the pregnant women. These industries contribute much to the government's economy, including paying taxes as well as providing jobs to the local residents, plus expanding skills to the young Rwandans who didn't have opportunities to study.
No guhakaza abanyarwanda no kwigisha abanyarwanda batari bafite amahirwe yo kubona amashuri ahanitse.
The Kigali Special Economic Zone is mostly visited by various heads of state who visit Rwanda, where some are even determined to do such initiative in their countries, as the president of Madagascar, Andry Rajoelina, recently pointed out. We came here with the entire delegation to see how the Special Economic Zone functions, and I believe we will leave here with a clear picture of how it all works, so that we can emulate it back home and Madagascar may be able to attain what Rwanda has managed to do. I therefore commend you for your efforts in this regard and understand that it is necessary to develop a country's industries and create jobs. Currently, 2 phases have been built in this industrial area of Kigali Special Economic Zone, which has attracted private sector investments estimated at $3 billion, including heavy and light manufacturing industries, as well as generated over $500 million of exports revenue in 2022. Meanwhile, the management of this industrial area noted that its future expansion of Phase 3 and Phase 4 are expected to be built on a 380 hectares of land. Adams Kwizera, RTV News, Kigali.
Thank you, Kwizera, for that report. Now, urban planners have been stressing that the proper infrastructure needs to be established in cities to facilitate migrations to them. We have more.
Rwanda's rate of urbanization back in 2017 was at 18.7%, with a goal to raise that figure to 35% by the end of 2024.
First of all, technology must be increased. We as young people need access to such technology so that we can be able to develop things like software.
A city should be able to facilitate people from all walks of life, irrespective of how much they earn to make a living.
God bless our president because he did his best and much has been changed. However, many young people are without jobs.
In some areas, water shortages are rampant and people must travel long distances to fetch it. Next month, Rwanda will be hosting the Africa Smart Cities Investment Summit, with delegates noting that as the continent gears up to welcome a staggering 760 million urban dwellers by 2030, that's a 50% surge from 2015, the urgency to harness the power of technology has never been greater. In 2017, His Excellency the President of the Republic put forth the initiative to develop African cities through the use of technology, and that began to be implemented in different cities. We will showcase the top 30 cities and how they are going about it so that others can emulate them. Such gatherings also present important investment opportunities for the host country.
So this conversation is therefore important. We have the right policies, including the blueprint that I mentioned, but also we have other supporting policies. We are leveraging data these days. So we recently in Rwanda launched the AI policy. We have other policies and strategies on green infrastructure, green city and sustainability. So we believe the conversation will be advancing how these policies can be adopted. We'll be promoting different opportunities for investment, really calling upon private sector and other funders to support the development of green cities and also sustainable cities in leveraging technology.
The inaugural 3-day Africa Smart Cities Investment Summit will bring together over 1,000 delegates from 30 countries from around the world.
The Rwanda Biomedical Center notes that by the end of this year, all health centers in Rwanda will have a permanent personnel skilled in mental health to provide basic care in mental health services to patients in need. Olive Nhete with more.
Highlight some factors they think can lead to mental health issues. As a tenant, my life is difficult. Renting a house is a real issue, and yet the current life is also hard. You also find that men leave their homes because they can no longer provide for the needs of their families. For example, nowadays a kilogram of rice costs 1,400. Let's say if I work for 2,000 Rwandan francs per day, I won't be able to buy other things such as charcoal, rice, and porridge for my kids.
We as motorcyclists are currently facing the challenge of the increase of fuel prices, and also commodities are expensive at the markets.
According to the Rwanda Biomedical Center, the genocide perpetrated against the Tutsi and other various problems related to the pandemic of COVID-19 are among the factors that contribute to increasing traumas, including mental health issues. This led to multiplying efforts in decentralizing mental health services to people, including initiating those services at health centers. Health centers such as Gatenga in Chichiro district and Rwampara in Nyarugenge both show that they have more than 30 people being monitored in the mental health services.
Abenshi bashobora kuza barwaye imitwe idakira. Abenshi baza bafite agahinda.
Most of them come to us with repetitive headaches, with sorrow, and they may tell you that they haven't been sleeping for a while. They also say that they have no appetite, saying that they no longer feel happy or joyful, or that most of the times they feel lonely and do not want to be around other people. Let's say if someone comes telling you that they want to commit suicide, we don't provide treatment. Instead, we send them immediately at hospitals for further medical care, because if not treated on time, they may put it in action.
Ariko aho bamaze kudecentraliza ubuzima bw'indwara zo mu mutungo bigo nderabuzima.
People with mental health issues are consulted by doctors. Those in need of special therapies, such as discussions, they get them. And we are currently receiving a number of people requesting this service.
Dr. Jean Damascene Yamuremye, the Director of Psychiatric Care at the Rwanda Biomedical Center, points out that health centers help to identify people with traumas at an early stage. 76% of people who seek mental health care services are being treated at health centers. However, Dr. Jean Damascene elaborates some of the challenges being faced.
People still confuse mental health issues with witchcraft, demons, or evil spirits, and this causes a number of people to seek care at inappropriate places, such as among those who practice witchcraft or other inappropriate places, which further severely affects the situation. Every person with mental health issues has to be taken to the hospital as early as possible so that they can be treated appropriately. Another thing is that mental health illnesses are like all other illnesses. They can be cured and people can return to their normal life.
According to RBC, 70% of 510 health centers in Rwanda have skilled personnel in helping people with mental health issues. It is expected that by the end of 2023, all health centers will be having professionals in providing mental health care. Statistics of the Rwanda Biomedical Center reveals that in Rwanda, 1 in 5 people have one or more mental disorders. The most common are severe depression, anxiety, and schizophrenia. Olive Nhete, RTV News.
Once again, on behalf of the news production team and I, we would like to thank you for sticking with us here on RTV News. Good night and stay safe.